Hello everybody, my name is Alex Murphy and I am a Doctor Who scarf knitter, and I am here today to teach you how to do the red crude join on the season 16-17 scarf. This tutorial is for the advanced Doctor Who scarf knitter who really wants a super duper screen accurate scarf. It's a pain in the butt, and honestly, if you don't want a super duper screen accurate scarf, I would recommend just doing this and calling it a day. But if you want it to look the way it does on TV, you're in the right place. So a little history before we begin. The season 16-17 scarf is the remains of the original scarf that they first knitted for Tom Baker, attached to the stunt duplicate scarf, which was knitted for the android invasion in season 13 because Tom Baker has scenes with his stunt double because the story was about robot doppelgangers. So, at Tom Baker's request, the stunt duplicate and the original scarf were sewn together at the ends to create one super duper long scarf. The hero scarf, the original scarf, at that time had some major damage on it, and the BBC apparently went and tried to fix those pieces of damage and were not particularly successful. So there's a big crude block where there was red, and the same with the yellow-green block. So the materials you're going to need for this. You will need something to secure stitches with. I knit on circular needles anyways, so I like to take the circular needles that I was using and use the cords to secure my stitches. But you don't have to do that if you don't own circulars or you don't like them or whatever. What I used to do actually is I used to take my darning needle and I would run floss through the stitches to secure them. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to remove these stitches that I've knitted here in red, and that's going to make these yellow stitches and these purple stitches live again, and you don't want to drop anything. So I like to take this. You're going to need 2 sets of whatever you're using. If you're using floss, you're going to need 2 lengths of floss. I have 2 circular needles here. You will need scissors. You will need a crochet hook. This crochet hook is a size H, a US H. I like to use a crochet hook that's at least sort of comparable to the needle size that I use to knit my scarf. I knitted this on a size 5. This crochet hook is a size 8, so it's notably larger. But it's better to err on the side of too big than too small. You're going to want a darning needle, and you're going to need your red yarn. This is all the red yarn I have left. This will be enough, so I'm not worried. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to secure our stitches. So take your scarf, flip it over, so you can see the back side. And what you're going to do with your darning needle or with your interchangeable, whatever you want to do, you're going to go in and you're going to run it through every single one of these stitches in yellow and in purple that are popping up. It doesn't matter if you go from the bottom up or the top down. The important thing is that if you were to go from the bottom up, that you continue to go from the bottom up for the rest of the length of the scarf. And the same thing for the top down, because otherwise every other stitch is going to be flipped the wrong direction. It doesn't really matter if they're backwards or forwards, because we're not going to be knitting on them again. What does matter is that they're all uniform. You want to really make sure here that you get your first and last stitches, because sometimes those can evade. Go down. So I've secured all of the yellow stitches here, and I'm going to do the same now with the purple stitches on top. And just for the sake of variety, I'm going to go from the top down, making sure I get my first and last stitch. Now I have secured both sets of my stitches, the purple and the yellow. The next thing that we're going to do is usually the hardest part for somebody who's never done this before, and that is that we are going to cut our red stitches. But here we go. I like to pull my stitches very tight so that I don't accidentally cut any purple or yellow stitches, because we want to keep those. And All right, so now your scarf has been separated. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to remove all of your excess red yarn and throw it away because you don't need it. All right, so now that you have removed all of your red yarn, you can take your yellow side, put it away. You're going to take your purple side and you're going to flip it around, orient it so that the front side is facing you, and so that the work it's underneath. It's important that it's oriented like this, otherwise the back of the join will not look correct. You're going to take your yarn and your crochet hook, and you are going to slip stitch across this entire edge here. If you've never done this before, it's actually probably good that you learn here because you need to do a slip stitch border on the season 18 scarf, so this will give you some practice for that. So start with a slip knot, and to create a slip knot, you're going to take your yarn, hold it like this, and then wrap it around so you have a little loop. And then you're going to take one of the ends and you're going to push another loop through that first loop, like that. And that's what you're going to stick your needle through, your hook. Just take that and you're going to tug on it to pull it in. And now you have started your crochet. I apologize to English knitters. You're going to have to hold, unless you're left-handed, in which case continental knitters, I'm sorry. You want to hold your tension in your other hand. This is how I already hold my tension because I actually learned crochet before I learned knitting. I knit continental anyways. So you want to hold your tension in your other hand. And what you're going to do is you're going to, it doesn't matter if you go above or below the cord here, because once you pull it out, it'll fix itself anyways. You're going to go into your stitch knitwise, wrap your needle around. You're going to hook your yarn like that. You're going to pull it through your stitch, and you're also going to pull it through the loop that's already on your needle. And that is one slip stitch. Congratulations. And you're just going to continue to do that throughout the entire length of the scarf. You're going to go into your next stitch knitwise. Your next stitch might be a little tight. You can pull on it. You're going to go under and grab the yarn in your hook. You're going to pull it through that stitch, and you're going to pull through the stitch that's already on your hook. There, and now you've just done a second one. And for this, don't worry about all of your crochets being uniform. Don't worry about it looking too neat because the join is really pretty messy. It's okay if they're all sort of haphazard. So you're just going to continue in that way across the entire length of the scarf. So I have finished crocheting across the purple side. You can see that it's kind of bumpy, it's not very neat, and that is totally okay. What you're going to do to finish it off is once you've done your last slip stitch, which I have, you'll see that every purple stitch has been accounted for. What you're going to do is you're going to give yourself 6 inches or so. You're going to cut your tail. And you're just going to take your hook and you're just going to pull that yarn through. There, and now it's secure. It will not come undone. And you're all set there. You may now remove the cord that is securing your stitches because with this crochet slip stitches here, your stitches are secure. They will not come undone. They are all being held. So, there we go. All set. So, as you may have guessed, the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to take the yellow side and you're going to do exactly the same thing on this side. You're going to crochet slip stitch all of these stitches secure. You're going to remove your cord that is securing the stitches at the moment, and then we'll catch up with you. Alright, so now I have completed binding off the yellow end of my scarf as well, and I have similarly removed the cord that was securing my stitches because I don't need it anymore. These are now secure. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to take the purple end of your scarf and you're going to match them up. It's important on this join. It's actually the only join that this is true on the hero scarf. You want to make sure that when you match these up, they are on the correct side of each other. This should be the front side and this should be the front side. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to grab a length of your red yarn. I would recommend that you pull a yard, 2 yards maybe. I tend to pull too much just to be safe. Better too much than too little. Take scissors and cut it. Put the rest of your yarn aside. And now you're going to take your darning needle and you're going to thread your yarn just like that. Pull it through so you've got maybe 6 inches or so. And what you're going to do is you're going to take these 2 ends and you're going to set them so that they match up like this on the same side. And you're going to take your needle and you're going to stick it underneath your stitches. The important thing is that you want to make sure that you get underneath your red stitches here as well. You want to get underneath those. So from this side, you can see through there under that, and you're just gonna stick it through the other side there, doing the same thing underneath your red stitches on both sides. There you go. And pull it through. You don't want to pull the entire length through. You want to leave a bit of a tail sticking out. But all that you're going to do now is you are going to essentially sew these 2 ends together. And it's not even a whip stitch. All that you're going to do is you went in this side, and now you're going to come back this direction. And then you're going to turn it, and you're going to go up and then down and up and down and up and down the entire length of the work. And it's okay if it bunches up a little bit. What you do want to be careful of is that you don't go into, say, like 4 or 5 stitches over on this side and then go in like 2 stitches over on this side, because that will, when you pull that tight, that will bunch it like this, and you don't want that much bunching. A little bunching is okay. You don't want too much bunching. It's not a terribly bunchy bit, but you can move over like 3 or 4 stitches at a time, maybe a little more if you're feeling adventurous. Just gonna take it and pull it through. You don't need to pull it through too tight. The important part is that you're getting underneath these red stitches here on both sides, because that will help hide them when you're all done from the back side. I'm just going to do that. All right, so I have now completed sewing my scarf together, and you'll see it's sort of a wavy, it's got sort of a wavy join. That's okay. Usually it sort of looks like this when you just finish doing that. What I like to do as a final touch is to take this yarn. This is my weaving yarn. These are my crochet yarns. I like to take the tail of my woven yarn, and completely misusing technical words. And I like to grab onto the scarf here and then pull that and bunch all of that up, just to get as little space in here as possible. And you're going to do that on both sides. Here's these 2. Take that, pull it in, so that it's super duper bunchy like this. Obviously, this isn't how the real scarf looks, so this is what you want. So you're going to pull it out again. What you want to do is make sure that there's really no space in here. You want to make sure it's pretty much as tight as it can be without these ends being pulled in. This should be wavy, but you don't want the ends pulled in. And the way really to test if you have it tight enough is to flip it over, and you can see I've done a pretty good job here. It's pretty much hidden. If you pull it, see, if you were to block it after this is what you would get, and you don't want that. It's okay if these ends don't really match up 100%. They don't on the real thing. This is pretty good. From the back, and especially from a distance, it'll really mostly just look like the purple and the yellow are attached. The very last thing that you want to do before you're done is, right now you have 2 secure yarn tails and 1 not secure yarn tail on each side. And one of the strange features of this is that the join has yarn tails sticking out of it on both sides. So what I like to do to both secure this and to get these yarns ready to make the little tail is actually just make a little knot right here with these 3 tails. There's one. And there's 2. No one will notice that there's a knot there. You want to get this a couple of inches, not too many inches, but maybe 2 inches or 3 inches. 3 inches is kind of long. Maybe about 2.5 inches. You can kind of eyeball it. Better to eyeball it too much than too little, because if you eyeball too much, you can always cut it down if you're not happy with it. But you do that, and then this works a lot better with non-superwash yarn. This is a superwash yarn. But I like to sort of just like run it together through my fingers and get it sort of nice and felted together. As a superwash, it's never really gonna quite felt together the way that it would. Let's cut that a little bit. Let's maybe cut it at a severe angle like that. Then you can even like take the end of your scissors if you want to stress it a little more and like do that or something. It's pretty distressed. And you want to do the same on the other side. There you go. Congratulations. At this point, you have created every crude join on the hero scarf, and you should be pretty much done until you've finished your duplicate scarf and you want to attach them together. Great. Congratulations.